Ready, guys?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kevin?
Here.
Nicole?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
Rod?
Here. As everyone that has been coming to the meetings noticed that I have moved the visitors' public comment back up to the top. We are gonna do one other thing that's gonna be a little different than we've done in the past, is I'm gonna ask that when you decide to approach or to make a comment towards the board, I'm gonna ask you to go over to the podium and make that comment. And I'm also gonna ask that if we can, try to keep all of the rest of the refrains of communications down to a minimum. You can whisper to your neighbor, but that's as far as it goes. Okay?
All right.
Visitors comment? Yes, George?
Okay, I don't know which way to start, I got so many. I'll start with a small one. Is Opitz and Cockle here? Did you guys miss any signs, campaign signs this season? Did any of your campaign signs go missing?
No, I think we found most of them.
No, that ain't what I meant. Did anybody swipe them, steal them?
No, not that I know of.
Well, amazingly enough, we had 4 of them gone. So. Okay, the next thing is, invoices have been a problem with the fire department, am I correct? I'm asking you.
At times, yes.
Pardon me?
At times, yes.
That shouldn't be, should it? I mean, we went through this about 3 months ago, and I made comments on that. That should be like, putting on your shoes.
I don't believe that there's any issues right now, is there, Patty?
Getting them at Friday evening.
We're gonna be addressing that.
Okay.
That's already on the agenda to be addressed.
I'm sure you know, the clerk is responsible, according to state statutes, for invoices and whatnot. And I just don't understand how a fire department can go out on a fire call and they can't run an invoice from over there over to here. That seems pretty, unless you're doing it on purpose, trying to piss somebody off, and if that's the answer, I don't know. You guys should work on that. Where do we stand on the water softener for over there?
As far as what?
Is it in there, or is it going to
It's
happen?
not in there, has been passed, hasn't been talked about.
Okay. And then, on the same line, now supposedly, you want this water softener because you have spots on the mirrors, am I correct? Ain't that what your wife said?
That is one of the things, yes.
So what do you do when it rains? Park the truck?
Move along, George, please.
What?
I said move along, please, George.
I'm waiting for the answer. What do you do, park the truck or what?
I do not have to answer you.
Why not?
Of course we don't park the truck.
Well, to me, the water softener thing is just total bull. We all know that. The next one is, what happens, well, this is for the entire board. I've had 1 open records request, my wife has had 3, Butch Ortell has had 1, we haven't received any. Why? Are you guys okay with that? I mean, according to state statutes, it's supposed to be done in a timely manner. So why is that not done?
I personally am not okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not neither. I'm not making these requests just for shits and giggles. I wanted to know, and I got nothing. And I don't think that's right. And it seems how you're the chairman, and you were the head of the fire department, and probably still basically are. Why not? At least give me an answer.
I am not the fire chief. Your fire chief is sitting over there.
I understand that. But
I'm not in charge of the fire.
shots.
What?
I'm guessing you still call a lot of shots, at least through your wife, right? She's the assistant chief.
No, I do not.
Yeah, okay, whatever. So now let's get back to where's the open records request?
I will check with Patty and I'll go over which ones they are. I do not, as you had stated, there's several of them out there. I do not know which ones are out there.
Three, one and one. One from Butch
But you got
Hotel,
nothing.
3 from my wife, and 1 from me. I'm gonna have another one tonight. So that'll make another one.
I will get with Patty on that.
Yeah, you guys should get on top of this a little bit better than I are. One of the problems I think that I have, and I know other people in this township, is, I'm gonna use the word arrogance that the fire department has. I mean, you know, it never used to be like that, I don't think. The fire department used to be pretty squared away back in the days of Dale Folds and Charlie Hardinger and that whole crew. They were really squared away. Now you guys act like you're above the law. You don't have to do, you know, anything that you don't want to do. And you know, you still should be under taxpayers. You're still operating on taxpayers' dollars, regardless of what you guys think. You know? I just don't think that's right. I think you should really improve on that. But I don't see that happening, not with the leadership we have. Let's see. Are there any attorney bills for this month?
I'm going to believe that there should be. They're in your packet.
Pardon?
They're in your packet.
It's on the
I don't
checklist.
have a packet. I didn't grab them. I'm just asking, well, you ought to know.
I said yes.
Well, you gotta speak up. I'm hard of hearing. You know that. Everybody knows that. So, what was that all about? What were the attorney bills for?
There's several of them. One for open records request information that we needed. I believe Patty had one on voters, some voters questions and stuff.
Hey, what did the attorney say about open records requests?
You should know. You should have gotten the response back, or your wife should have gotten the response back on that one.
I don't think so, because she never said nothing to me about it.
She did get a response.
Huh?
She did get a response. It was requesting a location fee.
Oh yeah, where the hell did that come from? Location fee? That was for the phone, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
What's a location fee?
Basically what it's going to take to go through the phones to pull up everything that is related to the township and pull it off and print it off.
And who bringing this $600 thing up?
It came up through the lawyer.
Really?
Yes.
I think
Through our ordinance, through the way that our ordinances and everything else is written, yes.
Really? I think that's a crock too. The way I see a location fee, it's, your phone should be right there in front of you.
You also have to remember out of that too, that location fee for at least one of the phones would not have been there if at the last year's meeting, I believe it was the one in April, when I requested a phone for the township so that all the township information could be on that phone and not on my private phone.
$600
So that would not have been there.
$600 worth, huh?
Like I said, it's a year's worth of information that you requested that has to be sifted through.
Wow. So no, never mind. Let's see. Well, I know, that the fire call out to range line there, I guess where the two guys broke or whatever, you guys got called on that, right?
Yes.
Me and Bill happened to be by Resource Recovery picking up campaign signs, and when you guys went by, the fire was out at range line, am I correct?
Correct.
How come you come down 97 from Stratford?
We ended up taking C over. We took Galvin to C.
But you
It
came
is a
down-
little bit out of the way, but it is also our firmer roads to drive on, so that it was a choice that we took.
No, you came from Stratford way. You
Yeah.
came down,
Yes.
That's C,
huh?
C towards Stratford.
No, Resource Recovery is
Oh, it is?
that way. Okay, the other C is that way,
Are you talking after the fire on the way back to the station?
after the fire, yeah.
Yes, we were up at the Stratford station.
Oh,
helping
okay.
clean up.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Okay, well, I guess my last thing I got is, now, Pat Weigel, he went on that fire call, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does he punch out when he goes on that, or are we paying him the freight for that?
He punches out.
Okay, for sure?
I know that he does. Now, if I'm gonna say that if he's out in his truck, it does not get punched out at that time, but he takes it off his time card.
Okay. For sure, you're not
I'm
lying
for
to me
sure
this
on
time?
that.
Okay. I'll tell you what, sometimes, you know, when you say stuff, little less than believable. Or in other words, let me put it this way. If you told me that the sun comes up in the east, I'm getting up at 5, I'll check it out myself.
I understand that, George.
Yeah, that goes back to your 2 years ago or a year ago campaigning. And I think that's it. There's no chairman report, neither is there.
No.
Why not? I know I keep asking you that, and you just kind of blow me off. Why don't you? I don't understand that.
I believe that I chime in enough through the whole deal that I do not need to have a 5-minute speech or a 10-minute
believe it?
speech to the people.
Yeah, but, you know.
You have time. I openly accept questions and openly answer them during the visitors and the public comment section, so I believe that that is enough at this time.
Well, I think it would be a hell of an idea for you to give a report. You know, like, for example, you're calling the attorney, what that's all about, different things like that. I think it would be a really good idea. Okay, my last thing is, I want to thank Nicole and Kevin for your service. I think you did a great job. I really did. So, it's unfortunate that it could have ended the way it did, but. All right, that's it. Oh, one other thing, how come we got cops here tonight?
Because of a meeting the other night.
Huh?
Because of a meeting the other night.
Because of me. Really? I'm 72 years old, what the hell am I gonna do?
All right, enough. Let's go.
Huh?
You are, during the visitors and public comment section, you are not to engage with the
Then answer
people
me,
here.
how
You are
come-
here to,
How come we have a Marathon County, officer here?
because of the conduct that was done at the meeting last month.
The conduct?
Yes.
What conduct?
I'm not going into it right now.
Well, then you shouldn't have brought it up, should you? Come on, Bauer, you know, you brought
As
it up.
town chair, I have this option to do it, and I decided to exercise my right to do this, and this is what I'm doing. You have your right to sit there and say what you want to say at this time right now, so I have the right to have somebody here if I decide to.
Really?
Yes.
Is it because of me, really, like what's the face said?
It was the way the meeting was taken care of last month, yes.
I can't remember, I'm old, I can't remember what the hell I did last time. What did I do?
I wasn't here, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a question, are we paying for him to be here?
Tom, what did I do?
There were some comments at the very, very end, just before everything was called to an end, that you said, George, that were not appropriate.
What was it?
I'm not gonna repeat it. They were not appropriate. George, seriously, they weren't appropriate. They weren't.
So if it
So,
wasn't appropriate, let me know what the hell it was.
I'm
We're all big boys and girls, huh?
not gonna repeat it. I will not repeat it. It was not appropriate. George, it just wasn't. It wasn't.
I just wanna know, are we gonna have this on our, something that we gotta approve for paying next month if I have?
Right, what the hell did I say?
No.
Okay, what did I say?
Is there anyone else?
Good evening. Jeff Pierce from 290 Dan. Just wanted to bring to the board's attention, and apologies to the clerk, I'm not here to start a fire or throw anybody under the bus, but my experience with my election process this spring for the primary and the election. I vote absentee because I work on call, I never know if I'm going to be here, so I didn't get on the state website to register early enough, so I called to make an appointment to vote early absentee, and never got a response back. Thankfully, I was here primary day. Then I got my absentee registration put in. Wanted again to deliver my ballot right to the clerk instead of sending it through the mail, so I called again to make an appointment to deliver my ballot and never got a response again. And then also emailed the clerk because I wasn't sure meeting the requirements, but I needed to get on the agenda to comment tonight. So I emailed him last week just to let her know my intentions. Also never got a response. So,
That is incorrect.
I haven't seen an email.
Check your spam.
Okay.
Did you leave a voicemail?
2 minutes.
You-
What's your address again?
200-980 Dan
And your name?
Chuck Veer. V-E-E-R. Just if you wanted to bring it to the board's attention and hopefully get an answer on what's going on.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, John?
In the newsletter, the revenue for the town was $3,333,044.71. However, the expenses were $3,319,567.01. So I'm wondering, are those numbers supposed to be the same? And if not, where does the remaining $13,477.70 go? And why is it visible to the people? Like, it should, in my work, you flow it through to the balance sheet, you can see it. So like, my revenues always balance to my expenditures. And if there's a difference, it shows as either increase or decrease in net assets for the organization.
Do you want this one, Steve?
John?
$13,477.70. And the difference is between the revenues and the expenses for the calendar year. I took it out of the newsletter. And then the other thing that I want to mention was that the newsletter states that the town paid $4,622.50 for the internet and website. So even if the internet out here costs $200 a month, we spent over $2,000 on the website that has meeting minutes from 2019.
Is there anyone else? Yes.
Dennis Frank, 8 Lincoln Avenue, 20847. This is for Tom. When is Pat gonna start grading roads? Everybody came at me, I'm on 8 Lincoln, and I know the frost isn't out, I understand, I lived there my whole life, so I understand, just, that's it. So,
Okay,
Just,
yeah.
frost is not out, and seriously, that's what it is.
So,
one of the things for everybody's kind of knowledge with being that I'm working with Pat, and I've got this from a couple other guys that do grading of roads too. They try not to grade the roads before the frost is completely out, because there's basically kind of like a hard surface that forms on top of the gravel roads, and that's what keeps everything from turning to mush. If they grade the roads, like if you go over on the Spencers, that one got really, really bad on them, so they had to grade it, and that makes the road a lot softer. So Pat's just trying to save our surface by not grading it until the frost goes out so that he can grade it properly, and we don't have a bunch of soft holes and stuff like that. I know they're rough, but we just kinda gotta live through the spring. Is there anyone else?
Terry Bowman, 112-130 Woodbury Circle. I assume you're Tom Seifert over there?
Ma'am, yep.
Okay, so we've talked a few times on the phone about the street in front of my house.
Yep.
And is that on the agenda tonight?
Yep.
Do we know if that's going to be hard surface?
Eventually, yes. Right away, no. So we have to get it done first, dig out the soft spot, and then we're gonna get it back up to gravel, and it's gonna sit for a little bit, and then we're gonna get bid for blacktop and put a surface on it.
Do we know when that blacktop's going to be done?
Nope, I don't. I can't tell you right now. I can't even tell you when we're gonna get in there. Let's get through spring. I mentioned it to your wife when we talked on the phone the other day. We gotta get through spring. Let spring let
Yeah.
the frost get out and,
You know, my concern was the hard surface.
mhm,
You know, my
Yep.
ditch is full of gravel right now from the last year, when it was re-gravel,
mhm.
and, you know, I'm gonna have to spend a whole day breaking that ditch to get that gravel out, you know?
Mhm.
And my driveway is constantly full of gravel, and, you know, like I said on the phone, you know, I moved to Lindenberry over 20 years ago to be on, because it was a hard surface road. And most of my time there, it's been gravel or busted blacktop. And I have to clean the ditch out every year to all the blacktop that the plow puts in my ditch. And, you know,
All I can tell you is it's gonna be done this spring.
you
That's,
can't tell me the blacktop.
no, I can't tell you like that right now, no, I can't. No,
It's a
we
year,
gotta get it back up, then we have to put it out for bids.
I mean, it's a year, 5 years.
No, it'll be done this year, yes, and I'm hoping it'll be early summer, yes.
The
It's not-
blacktop goes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
I
Approval
did
of
get the
minutes?
email back, so. Okay, I did get the email. It was in this,
Usually that's where they go.
but the 2 calls I never had.
Somebody needs to make a motion.
Oh,
We're at the approval of the town board meeting minutes.
Motion approved, March 14th, 2021. My 2 minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Minutes approved. Reports. Planning Commission, Dorothy?
Okay, at our last meeting, we started discussing, because we keep hearing all these rumor-tism about developments, and we don't want to get caught like we did with the one up on, you know, I mean, that we had our first meeting in March about the rezone, and then we don't hear anything until August. Well, that doesn't work. Anyway, so we are kind of going through our ordinances, and we'll give our recommendations to the town board of what we think should be changed, because in those ordinances, there's only a 10-day period between when we see it and when you guys see it. Well, that's pushing the envelope. Yeah, so something, we need to work together so that it all, if we get another one, it goes smoothly. Also, we discussed that if anybody wants to annex out of our township, we can do nothing about it. That is the landowner's prerogative. And if the city wants to accept them, then we just kind of grin and bear it and work with whatever our contract is between the city and the township. Also, we had 3 citizens come to the meeting, and didn't have any board members there this time. Missed you guys. Anyways, one was talking about doing a rezone out of farmland preservation. We instructed him, you know, what the rules were, 35 acres. And if he goes forward with what he's thinking, I'm sure it'll be coming before us and then before you folks also. The other one just wanted to know about raising chickens in a rural residential area. I said, well, the county, we follow county zoning rules. So whatever rules they have in chapter 17, we follow. I haven't gotten any correspondence from the county. They do know that we want to make sure that we update any further developments, so we know what their page they're on, so we're all kind of working together as a unit. That was it.
Any questions for her?
The chicken criteria is pretty well cut and dry with Marathon County. How many, where, acreage, that's all cut and dry.
it gets to be an issue because, you know, you can be backed up with farmland behind you, but if you are in a rural residential area, you're limited. No roosters. Nobody wants to wake up to a rooster. Those rules do pertain.
Yes, Dave, you need to come up in front, please.
Just for your information, Dorothy spoke about annexations. There's 2 petitions for the Joint Plan Commission meeting, which is meeting Thursday at the City Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. I'd like to have our commissioners come along because we'd like to see how it functions. Okay, thank you, Dave.
Bob, you said you had something from, or Tom, you said you had something from Bob.
Yeah. Bob cannot be here tonight. He just asked if I could pass on that a tire recycle is Saturday, April 30th. It's at Pancratz Trucking on 10 southwest of Marshfield. There's going to be an ad in the paper this week and next. And that's the information he gave me to pass on.
And they still need their cards, Patty?
Yes,
How are we getting those out?
Bob has them and I have them,
Okay.
Who's responsible for, who's running it this year?
not us.
I think we were 2 years ago.
Maybe.
Nicole, library?
They're still reviewing policies and procedures, there's a lot. They plan on continuing reviewing those over the next few months. They have not given me an update on the contract, so whoever has the library committee next, good luck to you. And that's all I have for the library.
Jones, you're on screen.
Pavilion, they seem to stay on. For the future board, I would suggest looking at our rental agreement, opening up to everybody if that's what it takes. If it was $700 just to heat it last month, you're never gonna recoup that.
Was that pretty consistent per month, or was
I-
that just an exceptional because it was cold
Yeah.
a month ago?
I mean, maybe throughout the year, it's a wash, but just something to look at and evaluate.
Did you have any, I know you're going out, so it's not a big concern of yours, but did you have any ideas of what you wanted to do with the cable out back? The snow's gone now, and I know that the ground's soft, but
Ask Casey to bury it again, and then in utility room where everything was kind of marked out before, that just has to get updated and a note put in there that there's a cable running from one building to the next.
okay. Highway Tom?
On Thursday, Dan Betka from the DNR came up, and we spent about 3.5 hours going through the area between, it would be west of E, between Man and Marsh Road. And basically, I had called them to see if there's anything they can do to help us with the water that's being retained down there at the end of these roads. So he came up, we walked him, showed him our concerns. Didn't really say he could do a lot right now, but there is a program that the DNR is actually working on at this moment. They're about a year into this program, and it is for exactly this. It's the water, from what he is saying, has gone up, our water table has gone up in the last 4 years, exceptionally high since 2019. And he agrees, we definitely have issues down there with our water table. Basically, he didn't say exactly what they're gonna be able to do for us, but he did say that he would keep us in the loop. He is gonna send me some information. It's gonna be more of a pacifier type thing. He's gonna give me vegetation, the types of grass we can use to help with water. but also what he has on this program that they are doing right now. So I would expect to hear back from him within the next couple weeks with some information that I can bring to the next meeting. Super nice guy. I was really glad he came up. He was concerned. He does see it. So I was happy that he actually called back and came up and spent the time up there. I thought that was pretty decent. Other than that, it's basic stuff. It's water in ditches, water's coming through backyards, roads that have gravel coming out of them, soft spots, some street signs, and a couple culvert permits. So at this time, there's a couple things further down on the agenda that I can talk about at that time, but basically that was over and above what those issues are. Yes?
How soon are they going to put weight limits on?
Limits are on.
Oh, they are?
Yes, they
I
are.
guess I didn't see.
Yeah, yep.
Jesus Christ.
Fire Department, Adam?
Alright, we've had 0 fire calls, 6 EMS, 1 mutual aid, 1 controlled burn. There are no new members to report at this time. Training for the month has been undetermined. We're just gonna meet and go over, I guess, everybody's choice. EMS training, Kim attended a trauma conference last week, so they're gonna do a pediatric trauma training this month. And April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Please see our Facebook page for more information.
What's going on over there tonight? There's kids running around over there.
That's the 4-H,
Oh,
the music station.
oh, cool.
Steve, your treasurer's report?
The accounts are reconciled. And the transfers that we made, that I made, for the park fund and the fire department fall fest revenue were done in January. That was about, what, 18 for the fire and 1,800 for the park. So the amount of cash that we had at year end available for highway was overstated by that amount.
Okay.
We're not out cash, we're just out highway cash.
Okay.
The park transfer one was the one,
That Eddie was talking about?
yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I've got a couple of good jokes. What?
There's one right there.
Yeah.
Board has no more questions for Steve? Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Motion to approve the treasurer's financial report.
I second.
Any further discussion? So we have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Treasurer's report accepted. Patty, your report, please.
Marathon County CPZ issued a sanitary permit on Dragon Flag Road, a zoning permit for property on Highway 97 and Birch Tree Road, and a shoreline alteration permit for Birch Tree. Correspondence included a survey from Wood County Highway Department and a fiber optic registration form from Bug Tussle. Open book is scheduled for this week, April 13th, 5 to 7. Border review is scheduled for May 4th from 6 to 8. On your checklist is checks 18846 to 18874, and no, they're not in chronological order, but they're all there, including EFTs 2022-16 through 19 in the amount of $37,896.07. And in your motion, I'd like to additionally request to run the board quarterly payroll with the bi-weekly payroll scheduled to run this week. And even though you wanna do it like last year, can I have a time card, please?
That's a yes.
That was a please.
It makes things a lot easier for it, Tom.
Yes.
Well, and it'll mess up the reports if we don't have.
Motion to approve the checklist plus the additional,
It'll be 5, the board, and then there's 4 checks bi-weekly.
additional 9 checks.
No, additional board payroll to run with bi-weekly. Because it's not always gonna be 4, and it depends on who turns us at a call.
I would second that.
It's gonna be worded exactly as she said, so I'm not.
I agree.
I have a motion and a second to approve the clerk's report, check report.
I do have a question. How much have we paid to Dempsey Law Firm so far this year?
One of the charges for the month was about the absentee ballot box. Whatever his recommendation was, I had other questions that arose when I was up with Patty, and he answered those. Tom happened to have some tools in his truck when he stopped, so that was taken care of.
Including the check that's in the checklist, $1,315.50.
Thank you.
Was that one again?
$1,315.73.
What is rent a flash?
Traffic
That's
control.
where we get our signs from. I believe that one there, that's for the weight limit sign on Drake.
Right.
What's Festival Foods for?
Training and the fire department fundraiser.
What fundraiser? What fundraiser?
Did the broad fry during the election?
We did?
Yeah.
Like all day, or what?
Yeah. From 11 to 6.
It was in the newsletter, didn't
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I knew the newsletter, but I didn't see the right across the road? Oh. Well, I would have, if I would have been paying attention, you guys, sorry. How much money did you bring in from the Broad Prize?
I didn't get the total of it.
Oh,
I wasn't there that day, I had work.
oh, okay. That's all I have.
Any further discussion?
Farmway,
That was 2 fire trucks and the plow truck.
Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Report approved. Checks approved. Adam, you're up again. Fire department list of grants for the board approval.
Right. So it should be the same list as last month, just you guys got the package with the more detailed information. And the question last month was which ones are cost share. It was just the DNR grant and the AFG grant. FEMA grant, where we do that cost share, everything else is money to us, buy stuff we need.
So how much are you applying for in one of these grants? Because when I was reviewing all of them, they had ranges, and from what I see, there isn't.
Well, we haven't determined what we're getting or going for. It's just, in the past, we always, so this is what we're looking at, maybe applying for these this year once we determine if we need something, and try to source it in the funding through these grants. We don't have specific items picked out as of yet.
I kind of went through them and just a couple notes on some of them. This is 2021 one. Is this supposed to be 2022, or does that go back to
It
last
goes, yeah,
year?
it's from 2021. 2022 hasn't opened yet.
So our foundation, I don't have any information on here but websites, so I don't even know what you would do here. There's no dollar amount on here that I see when I look through it. The community giving program looks like there's multiple grants. Is that what you would do here? And I guess reading last month's minutes, it says we need to know the amounts. And you did answer 2 of those questions, but just basing it off of last minutes, which I was not here for, and these were approved, I don't think you answered all those questions.
I don't have a dollar amount because other than, the safer one we applied for last year, that one was for last year. So for this year, we haven't determined, we're still waiting to hear back from the one for last year to determine what we want to apply for this year.
And I don't even know if we qualify for the Outer Banks Community Foundation.
No, I was looking at that one too. I don't know why I have my stuff in.
Right, unless it's under health, which might be a far fetch, but I mean,
Well, I think there's like 3 of these that are listed 501c3. Is fire department 501c3?
That was
So
the
there's a
other-
whole bunch of those out.
yeah. So I feel like it's just a bunch of print-offs that were just thrown together, handed to us and say, here you go, here's some information, but they didn't answer what we wanted.
I couldn't give you the information for the dollar amount because we didn't sit and determine what items we were looking at, what we're getting. In the past, we were told we had to come up with a list of what we thought we wanted to apply for, and they approved which ones we would try to apply for and get monies for to get items. So they come out of the tax dollars and on the grants.
Well, but all it's really, I mean, again, some of these that are listed for eligible nonprofit 501c3, I guess, I don't have a problem if we apply for them and it just kicks out that we're not 501c3. If there's, we'd have to go through each of these individually and really see if there's a loophole in something that allows it, but, like the FEMA one for the U.S. Fire Administration, I think it said something in there about if you had a fire on federal land, you're eligible to apply for that one. So I don't know if we're eligible for that either. It's, who does this? Who's?
The Lori, that does the grants. See that word, then it'll be here.
I mean, some of these were probably okay, but some of these are probably gonna get kicked back. You don't know unless you apply.
So they all could get kicked back. I mean,
Yeah. But I mean, just a quick glance on some of these that we're not eligible for some of them, but we might be. And the cost share, I mean, it's, if you get them, it's up to you guys and your department where you're gonna come up with funding for it.
Right. Well, we're-
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Or no? How, we don't know what our share, what it's gonna cost the township, right? On these grants that you're applying for?
So we're not applying for anything right now, we're just trying to get permission to look into these and see if we can go for them. I mean, the cost share would have to come back and ask
So that would be down the road, you find out
Right,
what.
I was asking for permission to look at these, that's what I did with Deb when Deb was chair. She wanted a list of ones we were thinking about going after for the year, and then the board gave their approval, okay, look at these, and then if we found something we needed, and a grant that would provide that dollar amount we need for the items we wanted, then we bring it back to the board, so here's what we're applying for, this is the dollar amount. So I'm not looking, that's why there's no specific dollar amounts right now.
One of these had the deadline of April 15th on it, too,
Yeah,
so.
well, probably not gonna be.
So I'm, seriously, I'm okay with you paging through this stuff and trying to figure it out if it's gonna fit.
Yeah.
And then coming back to us and saying, okay, this one's gonna fit, and this is our obligation as a township. Can we go ahead and do
And
this?
that, I guess that's where maybe I misconstrued last month was, I was looking for permission to go after, to look through these, to determine if there's something we need that one of these grants will help fill the dollar amounts for, so it doesn't come out of the taxpayer pocket.
Right. Okay. So I'm okay if,
So I'll make the motion for the fire department to go ahead with the list of grants for exploratory.
yeah,
So they're not actually applying for them, they're just looking at them, which is what we have here, right? And then bring forward, this is, we need an AED, bring it forward and then apply, is
Yeah,
that what you're
we'll give you
anticipating?
the dollar, well, so this is what we feel we need to, get more ideas for our EMTs, or, and this is the dollar amount, this is the grant, do we have your permission to apply, or
How many AEDs do we have?
4, 5 right now, right? Is it-
Yeah, fine.
Just all over there, or is there one in the garage?
One in the engine, one in the rescue, one in vehicle aid, and I believe the rest are spread out with first responders based on their location in the township.
So if we can get more of those to put one here, one over there, probably not one in the park, even though we just see bad things happening.
We used to have even first aid kits in the town hall here, and for all intents and purposes, it's kind of a waste. The only reason I say for that, it's kind of a waste, is the fact that that nothing gets used out of it, it's locked up 90% of the time, and it's not accessible.
And some of the stuff has an expiration thing on it.
Yes, so to lock it up, I mean, maybe you put one in Pat's hands and one like in the red truck or something, or one of the dump trucks or something, so that it's out and it's about. But, I mean, that may be the purpose for it.
You have a motion without a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'll second that.
And out of some of these grants, I don't think it's Wisconsin Public Service, but out of some of them, it's Alliant, I think. Some of these are, I believe Alliant we've applied for in the past, and it was, we needed these, we have CO meters that the first responders carry and attach to their bags. You just put the item, how much it's gonna cost you to get to them, and then you fill out the grant with it. And either you get the meters, or, I mean, basically, either you get the money to cover the meters or not. And I think that's what Lori's looking for. She's looking for, to be able to go ahead on the ones that are covered. Obviously, if there's tax dollars that have to supplement the grant to make the whole project work, or if it requires cost down the road, then obviously it's gotta come back in front of the board, and that's the way this has kind of been done in the past.
I think it would also be helpful if, since you're looking at this grant and you know what you're going to write, to have the board look at it before you submit it, because how I interpret it might be different how Tom interprets it, might be different how you interpret it, because you look at the fire, or you have history with the fire department. I don't, maybe Tom doesn't, but I guess maybe that's my point of view, because I feel that it would be helpful to have somebody just look it over before it's actually submitted in, up here.
You're looking at designating someone to be that person?
Well, no,
So that when it
all
comes
Lori
up-
would have to do is say, I plan on applying for this grant, this is what I wanna fill in. You guys look at it, and you say, yep, this looks good to me, and then it can be submitted. Because there's so many ways you can interpret things, that if 5 different eyes look at it, I think it would be beneficial to everybody as a whole. So that way it doesn't keep coming up, what did you apply for, what did you say? At least everybody would know this is what was submitted at the grant. That's just my 2 cents.
Are we gonna do that with highway then too?
Any grant, I think we should. And I think that's from my experience, that's where it came to light when we were talking about grants and said, oh yeah, we should have all looked at it because we could all interpret it differently. That's all. Any grant, not just fire department, any grant, going forward. Grants are helpful, it's just, I think it'll be better if we all know this is what's been submitted, we can all agree to it, and go on.
A lot of grants still would have to come back for board approval, because this is just exploratory, this is.
Yeah, but if she gets to the point where it says, you know, I really want to apply for this grant, this is what I want to say, we could all see it up front and say, yeah, go ahead, apply it, submit for this.
Yeah, the board still has to approve the grant.
Right, but at least we know up front, this is what's being submitted. And if we question what's the difference between this terminology and that terminology, we'd all be on the same page.
How do we get it done in a timely manner?
Can the clerk email it to everybody up here? If Lori's the one writing them, which is, I'm glad she's writing grants and looking into the grants, because that's a good thing. Can the clerk get a copy of what she's planning to submit, email it to everybody, and then do a response back saying, this information looks good, please bring it to the next board meeting and we can approve it. That way everybody has a chance to look at it. I heard that, Carolyn, thank you. I just think it'll be beneficial in the long run, that's all. And again, it's not just fire department, it's all grants.
You make a separate motion
And you guys can do what you want, after 9 days, I won't be up here, so.
Discussing right now, I don't know if it was a motion part of it, but.
Something to think about maybe for next meeting, I don't know, but I just know that it, in the past year that I was on, that was something that, after the fact, I thought, maybe we should do this better, that's all.
I'm just concerned with some of these, and the way the time frame runs out, that our meeting, I mean, with the, and we, I guess we can't, maybe we can discuss it, I don't know. Is there a deal where if the board wants to see this stuff, and it has to, for a timeline deal, we just have a meeting for the grant to prove it, and we don't submit a pay for it?
Well, look at all
I mean, 'cause
this,
it
there's a
defeats the whole
couple
purpose.
months for each one, when I glanced at these, but a couple months is plenty of time, right?
On some of them, yes.
I mean, when I perused these, there was 3 months, 4 months,
3 days.
well, one's 3 days, but overall. I mean, I'm just trying to be efficient, I don't want anybody to be in the dark. We want to improve transparency, we want the fire department to get things that they should deserve, but we need to be all on the same page if we're gonna work together.
Well, I think it still comes back to the board still has to approve the grants before they get applied for anyways. So the motion was just to say, yeah, go ahead and look at these. Not apply for any. And put that in the agenda for next month. Have the discussion on that, what we want to go forward with.
Because if we are gonna approve some of these grants anyways, she's gotta do the work after the fact, so why not do it ahead of the game? There's probably a good chance a lot of these will get approved, right? So why not
It
come?
depends upon the board.
Oh,
I mean, anything, I mean, I've been around this board long enough, and on the other side of the fence, anything is game.
I don't think there's too many grants that were never approved.
I'm just with everything, I mean, not just the grants, but yes.
But I mean, if she,
Discussing the grants, but.
Yes.
I mean, if she fills out the paperwork saying this is what I plan to submit, this paragraph information, and this is the done number, and all this information that's required for the grant, just bring it up front, say this is what I plan on doing. If the board has questions, they'll ask, I'm sure.
May I speak?
You're gonna ask him,
Yes.
I think.
If you could come up to the podium, please.
First of all, you have a motion on the floor, is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct. They're in
And motion
discussion.
made and
Discussion.
seconded?
They're in discussion.
Yep, it was seconded,
Okay,
yes.
okay, you're in discussion, okay.
Yep.
So, you've made a decision that they're going to come and present. Or they're actually, all it is for permission to look at these grants, correct?
Correct.
If you don't have a protocol for these grants to proceed with them, then get one set up. Just like you were saying, you know, it'd be very simple to write a protocol. This is the steps you go through. And it would be consistent with every single grant that comes up. It doesn't matter whether it's roads, whether it's the fire department, what it is. Just set up a protocol so that you can stick to it. That's all.
I said, I thought we had it. I thought all grants had to be approved by the board to begin with, and that was said a couple of years back. I think you were chair at the time when
Yeah,
you did that.
and we did do that, but we, you know, it's kind of seems like there's kind of gotten a gray line here. So, for some reason or other, I don't know. So, I mean, because I don't, you know, you're going through many steps, so it just put it in writing and follow it through.
So put that on the agenda for next month and call the vote.
I agree.
I heard.
No further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay? Ayes have it. Under new business, agenda timing. This is one of the items that I put up. This is nothing to do with Patty. This is nothing to do with anything other than the fact that I do not like the fact that our agendas are put in front of us just before the meeting. We get like 5 minutes to look everything over, no time to research anything, no time to look at anything.
Don't you get an email? I mean, I get
Well,
mine.
I guess what I'm looking at though is some of the stuff in the packet though is information that when you read through it, I mean, you like to reread it so that you understand it better. And if there's a question for the fire department or a question for Pat, as a board member, you guys can do your homework as you should when you have questions and ask that individual, okay, so what did you mean by this? And do I understand you correctly? For this board, there is no way to do that. All we can do is pot shot at them up here at the meeting. Well, really, that's what it is, because they have no idea what questions we're gonna ask of them. They don't have their computers in front of them. And, I mean, there's just no information, so then we're sitting up here going, okay, we're gonna have to table it till next month, because we really don't understand. And I mean, we've done that quite a bit for this week. So I'm just, and I believe in the past, and I know that it comes into problems with some of the bills because of the fact that when you start moving the date further away from our meeting so that we get them, well, one of them would be checks and stuff.
Oh,
I mean, and I know that that poses a problem for Patty because the further you move it away from our meeting date, that 30 days gives us some grief. But I don't know if even all of the checks have to be in there, if it's just what she could have completed at that time. And I'm not looking at something huge, I'm looking at maybe Friday. I mean, I don't know what time you leave, Kevin, and the only reason is because people that normally leave on weekends and go to cabins usually all go about the same time. So I don't know if you used to leave like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or when you kind of left. But if you could kind of have it either emailed to us or a paper copy or something in our mail, in our folders over there, then we would have it. And then we'd have the weekend to at least go over it.
what about everything but checks and to approve? Why can't we just get everything but the checks? Because really, it takes me less than 5 minutes to look at the checks. I don't know about everybody else up here, but that way she still has the time she needs because she's only part-time.
Are you looking at items in specific with this, or?
I'm looking at kind of the whole thing.
So raw base, your whole thing, that means we get all this email to us.
Yes.
And that comes down, Adam, pretty good with the scanner and computer?
Well, this packet is kind of an exception to the rule. I mean, normally it's a couple items, it's a couple of things. And I'm just looking that way, the people we try to talk to or question on it, at least they have some time to do some research on it before the meeting.
The only stuff we used to get in the past, the agenda, the minutes, and, I don't even think the check approvals are really done because half that stuff was coming in late Friday,
Yeah.
so.
Because I know that, yes.
Can you make it up there?
Jerry Franz, 116451 Bird Street Road. A few years ago, when I was on the board, we used to have hard copies in the office here by Friday afternoon. And I don't know, it sort of went by the wayside. Perhaps you could go back to that?
No. Here's where technology's been your friend. Most people got smartphones, the email comes out, everything's on there.
So the question becomes, is it, can Patty do this by Friday, is the question. Should we put that on her, is another question. Another question, can we get all this information so that she can compile it before that time, instead of doing it 50-50, you know what I mean? So those are all questions I think we gotta answer. And I would say getting the information to Patty would be the biggest one, so that she can get it compiled by that time.
Yes,
Because it's not fair to put it on Patty if she can't get the information, and that falls on all of us.
Correct.
That's not Patty's issue. So I don't know if that's,
In a perfect world, yeah, Friday morning by 8 o'clock, everything would be nice to have everything done, agenda set and sent out. But I don't see where that's gonna happen. What time you normally set the agenda?
Thursday. But we can do, I mean, we can move some things off. But some of it's like the report from the fire department, that could be gotten to Patty so that it could be done. And
Just with the one sheet with that report?
well, the one, that or if there's information that they would wish to share with us before the meeting, yes.
Well, if I put that on Patty's, and the fire department has everybody's email, they could just email that stuff specifically.
Would we have a problem with that, Patty? If the fire department sent out emails to all board members?
Has been a problem the last 2 times that the fire department sent out emails complaining about stuff.
I wasn't on all those things. There's only a couple.
In this pack, I mean, it's all the stuff, Lori, that you found and did, I mean, it's, again, this is extreme, but, I mean, if you're talking just whatever the fire department does. What else have you guys had other than one other grant? What other grant did you apply for earlier this year, or late last year?
Just that one fuel one, that's all I've done.
so,
Because none of these have been approved, so I haven't touched any of them. They're all sitting there waiting for me to do. And the reason you got this big packet is because one of the board members requested it,
A couple of us did. but-
so that's why you have it. Took me better part of the day Saturday for me to put this together, and I used almost a half a ream of paper for you guys.
So the board meeting was a month ago, so why'd you wait till Saturday?
Because that's when I had first time from my full-time job and my responsibilities at my house to do it. And I did not get paid to sit at the fire station for all day to do this either. This is part of my volunteer job.
Oh, you just, I mean, you came in late after we discussed some of the stuff. Some of the stuff is 501c3 eligibility, and then we're not. So some of those are.
I thought we were.
We're going back to the.
the discussion of this stuff.
And so we're going back to the previous discussion, No.
Look, if you already
No.
had the discussion with my chief, that's fine, I'll get the
Yes.
information from
And I
him.
thought it was a very good discussion. I mean, we ended on a happy term, and then you came in and you blew up, and that's how it ended up.
I did not blow up, I just wanted to let you know how much time was spent on this packet for you guys, for the information.
Right, again, this is an extreme with this amount of stuff. That maybe instead of doing this in that aspect, because if it was on file, PDF, whatever, if it was email, the discussion is about getting this stuff in a timely fashion. So if you were able to put this together and it was on a computer, you just email the board. There's still no action taken, there's no whatever, this is an FYI. As compared to going the rest of the stuff. The only stuff that we get on a monthly basis from the fire department is the report. Normally one sheet, and you still get up and talk about it. The minutes, then get done whenever. I mean, it's, get here 15 minutes before the meeting and sit down and look through your packet. I don't think it's good.
Unfortunately, I think there was a misunderstanding on this whole thing, because I thought myself that they were applying for these, that's what they wanted last month. And it wasn't, they were just asking for permission to look to apply for these.
Right.
That was the misunderstanding, because if you were gonna apply to them, the question is, what is our responsibility? That was my understanding of it, and I thought what Bob said was head on, as far as if we have responsibility in this, then we need to know what you're applying for. And so that's, I think this wasn't necessary because of the misunderstanding. You just wanted to look at these and see if any of these can fit and you can apply for them. And at that time, you can bring that information back to us if we have responsibility or you're gonna apply for them.
Which is all the motion was. Stepping back to this was,
Yep.
go ahead and explore these. That doesn't mean you're applying for them. You still have to come and ask the board, because I still believe that's the way we've done it in the past. The board had to approve any applications for this stuff. And I don't think that should go away.
I agree.
Same as you did for the FEMA one at the end of last year or whatever. We discussed, I'll get that one done.
So back to the main discussion here. I mean, is it feasible to do this? Can we get the information to Patty? And can Patty get that information out by Friday evening or whatever time period we set? Because I agree with you, it's usually just the agenda that they have, you know.
Agenda or report, the minutes,
Yep, exactly.
Steve's financial, checks to approve.
So Steve, is that something you would do on Friday and have that report ready?
What's that?
Your report? Or is that something
I
you
can
do?
start working on it basically on the second working day of a month.
Okay.
I just need access to the Patty's computer. Usually it's done the Thursday.
Okay. Same day as the agenda then?
Basically.
Okay. So.
But again, Steve's report is one page they give us.
Right. Yeah.
So there's really no interest in having the information earlier, or?
It would be great, but I don't think it's feasible. I think by the time the checks come in, and again, we're all responsible this time for not having our slips to Patty. What time did I get to you? 3 o'clock Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one I'd really like to see would be the checks. And unfortunately, that wouldn't be on us. Because she usually does them just before the meeting. So.
So I don't think there's really any action that we'll take on this.
I guess not. I mean, the other one that things periodically come up with would be the planning commission also, they come up with stuff and it's in their packets and stuff. And some of that stuff to review beforehand would be nice, I mean, but that could be emailed too, I guess, directly from the planning commission to us, I guess if that's allowable, I don't know. I'd prefer, I'd prefer it to go through Patty, but, because then we know that she has it, I mean,
Can we table this?
Yeah.
And talk about it next time again?
Yeah.
I'd like to check into a couple things myself.
Sure. It's really good with the rest of the group.
Motion to table the next one.
Second.
Do we already discussing without a motion again?
Probably.
You were discussing what you had on your agenda.
Okay, we had a first and second.
All right. All those in favor of tabling number 10, agenda timing until next month, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Table until next month. Yours, Tom, part-time highway and highway employees.
I brought this up last month, and I thought I had an answer, but I guess maybe I didn't, so I wanted to bring it up again, have it on the agenda. So, part-time highway hires or employees helping Pat out. For instance, Pat does this road out there. How are we gonna handle somebody coming in and helping Pat? That's what I need to know. Should I be looking at a part-time employee now to help Pat out? Or are we going to, if Rod can run a truck, I'm looking to get machines back and forth from job sites if he needs to ride there or back to get machines back and forth. You know, somebody grab a shovel, whatever it is. The example I brought up was the culverts, de-icing the culverts. I thought there was a history of how we took care of this, but I was basically told that maybe I should just bring this, put it on the agenda and talk about it. So that's what I'm doing now. I just want to know, can we do it, and how do we pay this person? Just so I can get an answer. Because Pat is, he's going to be doing some jobs on the roads and stuff this summer. And so he's gonna have to get machines back and forth. He can't do it by himself. It's not right that he has to run back and forth by himself. So that's what I'm looking at. Do we hire a part-time person for the summer to help him, or as needed part-time person, or is Rod still gonna help out? I mean, I can help out when I can run them. I don't have a problem doing that. A lot of times I'm in town and I can do that. But I wanna know if it's volunteer fire department person, can he jump in a truck and
I would say
and
as
help
needed,
him,
but
or-
they have to meet a Class B, no restrictions, CDL requirements. It's not a snow emergency where anybody can jump in the truck. It's a different story where
Right.
you have to meet requirements.
Right.
What are our ordinances on hiring people? I don't have them memorized and I don't know those rules. Is there an ordinance on part-time employees? Do we have one? Hiring process?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I don't know what that process is, but I feel that we should follow it and do that process, whatever is called out in the ordinance.
And I thought I did last month, but I'm guessing I didn't, because there were some issues with it, so that's what I'm asking.
Do you have the ordinance? Oh.
I do not have the ordinance.
I thought we had an ordinance book up here, but apparently we don't.
It is not there.
You stole it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I studied it one
Well, hiring for that could be, I mean,
The
you
ordinance
know,
book is
but
this
you
thick
still
right
have to
here.
have the requirements
time. Yeah.
of operating the dump trucks.
And I'm not even thinking, you know, I'm thinking more somebody running Pat back and forth so he can get his machines and trucks and whatever he needs to the job site. You know, because
I feel that since it's not an emergency, we have to post and we need to follow that ordinance. That's just me.
Okay.
I guess the other question, because you mentioned something, Tom, about it, was you were looking, and Pat had said something about it, was the use of the fire department personnel for some of those tasks, because they're already employees. Not that it would be exclusive, and not that we would not probably be looking for another individual, but when the time comes up where they just need somebody to drive from point A to point B, and this other person isn't available on that short a notice, what do you do for that individual or whatever? Or if it's primarily like the thawing of the culverts out, where it's fire department personnel running the equipment
Right.
and that type of stuff.
Right.
I believe that's one of the other things that we're looking at in this.
It was, absolutely.
So
That was
what are
the
you looking at?
example I brought up last month. And I thought there was a precedent on how the people could help and get paid to help him if they wanted to. They could also volunteer, but they could be paid. But I was told no.
So this would be one to write the questions down and then contact the Towns Association. Get their advice, because it's gonna be free instead of paid. And we'll let go.
Okay. I'll follow up with that.
So make a motion to table till next month?
Yes. Please.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Table till next month. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Table till next month. Number 12. It's yours again, Tom.
I'm calling for road material and crack filling bids. Thank you, George. Kevin. Notice is hereby given Town of McMillan, Maritime County, Wisconsin, to receive sealed bids for the following: decomposing granite, please bid materials by ton, delivered anywhere within the township. Base course specs 5/8 to 3/4 minus and 1 1/4 minus. Please bid materials by ton, delivered anywhere within the township. Aggregate gradation number 2, quantity state certification required. Please bid materials by the ton, delivered anywhere in the township. Shell rock sand, please bid materials by the ton, delivered anywhere in the township. Breaker dirty, 6 to 8 inch, please bid materials by the ton, delivered anywhere within the township. Dust inhibitor, calcium chloride, 38%, approximately 10,000 gallons. Please bid materials by gallon, delivered and applied anywhere within the township. Crack filling as needed within the township. Please contact myself for the list. Bids must be received by the Town of McMillan clerk at our address here, Marshfield, by May 9th, 2022, prior to the board meeting being called to order. Bids should be sealed in a sealed envelope. Shall have a notation on the outside of the envelope stating sealed bid board materials. Bids will be publicly opened and read at the town board meeting, May 9th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Town Hall. For specific contact myself. Successful bidders need to provide certificate of insurance, liability, and workman's comp. The Town of McMillan Board reserves the right to accept or reject any and or all bids.
Motion to approve?
I second that motion.
I have a motion to approve what Tom just read. Any further discussion?
Yeah, similar. So the Anywhere Township, that means any resident can call whoever gets this and get that delivered to theirs. I think that's the way it was, but it was never put out there.
So if we accept a bid for material,
Yeah.
anybody in the township.
If we get Myers Sand,
Yeah,
he honors that. I believe that's the way it was always in the past, but it was never really put out there. We either can do that or can't do that. I don't know if that's was protocol or his protocol. David, I'm gonna ask you, you were on this for many years.
We did that in the past. However, in the bid, it had to state that they could get quantities, whatever they needed, to the town specs at that price. And that leads into how they determine what they're gonna bid the township for also.
Which,
It's good and bad.
good and bad, yeah. Because some of the bids are gonna come in by the tonnage and some are gonna come in by yardage.
Right.
And it's very clear with
It's very clear.
that,
Yeah,
then it get tossed out.
yeah.
It seems like every year we've opened bids, we've had arguments with,
Yeah.
The thing is, the
Yes, they're there.
yardage guys, you
Yeah.
wanna pitch those out.
Yeah.
that's by yard.
Cause there's no way of
Their
knowing,
tonnage.
there's no way of knowing per yard how much is in a truck. They just scoop it in and it's there.
Yeah.
Where the weight, when it goes across the scale, it is what it is. I mean, I know that some people say it's drier and it's wetter, but the bottom line is, at
Makes
least
a
you know you're
difference.
getting your weight.
Yeah.
And the county weighs all of their materials moving in and out, Wood County, Marathon County, everything. I mean, it's pretty much,
Well, sometimes we do yards. Just,
Do you know
just a
when,
thought on that.
do you know when that was last used? I mean,
I don't know if anybody's ever used it or taken advantage of it, I don't.
I have. I got about 10 loads from Red Rock last year to do my colony,
Okay.
and I paid the price that they want to bid, so.
Okay. So is that in there as a running, or does it have to be stated on what I?
That I don't remember, but
Do you know?
because when I got they asked me, are you Tom McMillan resident? This is the bid that was accepted and that's what they charged me, so.
So I bet most of them are just, I mean, they're gonna, whoever gets it, yeah, that's just common practice.
Yeah, I guess I never heard of that, that's.
Well, now you know.
I do, I did get it. I guess it's definitely food for thought, and if the companies that are getting these bids obviously honor this and let us know something about it.
Last year, we had the bids in, well done, Tom. The only thing is, Laddick came in last year, they did not bid any of the towns bids, but they did put in that they would deliver anybody in the town for the same bid, whoever won it.
Wow.
So that's,
Okay. Okay.
I guess whether it's just common practice that they all know and Tom McMillan, that's what it is, or.
That's something I can research, this year. I think we'll leave it here, because it sounds like they are doing it. And if it's something I'll definitely research, I'll talk to them. And if we need to put something in, I can do that next year and put it in.
So stuff like the crushed recycle, I think we had, somebody gave us a bid for that last year, but we don't necessarily need to have that, have to get that at the garage.
yeah, what?
Crushed recycle. We got mine at the garage, had to get that there. And he doesn't use that much of it.
We did get 2 loads last year though? I think dumped out here.
Yeah, it was never put out for bid to get crushed recycle. It was
Oh, you're
just
saying we don't need the
somebody-
bid out, you're saying we don't need the bid out for it?
No, you don't have to. I mean, a little bit that he's gonna use if he's gonna do any road radiuses, which is better than put gravel on there. It holds up better. There's some uses for it, it's, a lot of it's just radiuses or corners.
When will this be submitted? Or when?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
it's tomorrow if we
Okay.
pass this, because, they have to have it in by 9.
And whatever your paper takes, he puts it, print when she can get to it, I mean, you're up to the papers. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving Tom to put out for bids for the road materials and crack filling? Say aye.
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 Those against, nay? Good work, Tom.
Awesome, thank you.
Next one is also Tom's, Winterberry Circle Road repairs.
Okay. So this is the same area that we talked about last year, that was on our list last year. Decided to have Pat go ahead and dig this up, get the soft spot out of there. I'm not sure how far, but last year we walked off, the max it would be is 171 feet, I think, is what we walked off. We're gonna dig it out until the soft is out of there and go a little bit past that. What that is, I don't know until we start digging. I really don't. Dig all the soft stuff out, bring it back up, get gravel on there. And it is gonna sit for a little bit with gravel on there, okay? Not all year, but it is gonna sit a little bit with gravel on there. And then we're, depending on how big this is, possibly the bits for the blacktop, and then get the blacktop put back on there then. So
can I ask a question about
Yep.
that?
Please.
There are a lot of springs in Woodbury Circle. What happens if you can't get past the soft spot?
I guess we'll take it at that point. I can't really even answer that question until we run into it.
That whole circle might get redone.
Some of the circle has, if I remember what Pat said, some of the circle has been redone already, so it's, the whole circle's not gonna need to be redone. But, I mean, obviously the one in front of his driveway, and some of it, we were out there last year,
It was
were
bad.
soft,
It was
and
bad.
so I haven't been out there this year, but it can't be any better than it was last year.
I mean,
So
it's
that's
just
how I came
starting
up
now
with
to.
Yeah, it was
to come
firm
on.
last week when I went over there, and it's just starting to get soft. I went by there again on Sunday, I think it was, and it's just starting to get soft. So, it is gonna get soft.
In a week or two, it's gonna be,
Soft.
one other thing that I think should be done is some kind of signage. Many
Okay.
cars have been damaged already
Oh.
by driving
Okay.
over that spot, so.
Okay, that's a really good point.
The cars have to drive through my ditch to avoid it, and across the end of my driveway. So, I mean, last year I had my driveway replaced because it was damaged from all the traffic going across the end of my driveway. So, I mean, the cars are half on the road and half in my lawn to avoid the spot, so.
Are you right across from Pierce's?
No.
No.
We're
I guess what, a quarter mile?
we're behind them.
Oh, okay.
They're on the other side of the road.
And you're not gonna wanna hear it, but you could take a load of gravel out, extend it over the top, and have it built up for right now, just.
Over the top, yeah.
So it's not one spot.
They've tried that in the past,
Yeah.
and the clay just works its way.
It is
just
really
pushes
soft.
It just pushes up.
It's seriously, you can walk on it, and you can
It's a
kick
sponge.
it 15, 20 feet down away from you, it's moving. Seriously, it's soft.
So I think it was a problem when it was chip sealed last too, when all the oil came out, and it was basically.
Well, I've been there for
white and
21
pushed
years,
over.
and probably 15 of the years it's been a problem. And after the frost is gone, it firms up.
Yeah.
In the past it was cold patched, and, it's pretty good for the rest of the year, but last year, the blacktop was just completely gone. And it's been gravel since, so.
It's one for Pat just to dig a little bit out there, and put some of that recycle over the top for short term, to get into it.
So are you putting this out for bids as well?
We don't have to, no.
Oh, you don't have to, okay.
We got material covered in the bid for the project.
Okay, got it.
This portion,
Got it.
just back up the gravel.
Okay.
So
I
this
think your purpose for having it on the agenda is that it's good with the board, that we're gonna have Pat, it's gonna be one of Pat's projects this year.
Exactly.
So is there anything to vote on?
I don't think so, no. No, just Tom.
Item 14, Man Street, the LRID State Municipal Project Agreement.
You wanna do that one, Patty, you want me to? Okay. Well, we heard back for our grant for man. Not good news. We applied for a 80-20. Total price on it was $1,189,417.64. So, unknown to me, this is the process it takes. The county passed it, it goes to the state. The state takes all of these grants, they compile them, and then they rate them, and they put them where they want to put them. So they put us in a 50-50. So we came back with our part that we are responsible for, $591,973.16. So, we got this information last week. Patty and I already had an appointment to talk to the bank because we wanted to get out in front of this to see what our choices are. You know, where we're sitting, if we take a loan out to do this, and we didn't know what it was gonna come back at. We just wanted to talk to the bank to see where we are sitting and what their recommendation would be if we took a loan out. Myself, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, for that amount of money, maybe we should change direction and see if we can get a bid for, and I don't know exactly what it's called, I just heard about this last week, I did not do any research on it, but it's called a train system. Do you know anything about this, Kevin? Where they grind up everything, and then right behind them, you put blacktop back down?
Golden place.
I don't know.
If you don't grind everything down, any cracks, you couldn't put a gravel lift on it,
Right.
and have that ground in.
Yep.
And have the lift, you just, if there's some soft spots that need to be fixed, you fix the soft spots or some drain tile out.
Right.
I thought that's maybe what we should have did. They got 4.5 inch thickness of blacktop.
Yeah.
Why so thick?
That's what they expect for.
We
And I
don't-
saw,
we don't-
well, in fact, I even see something else here, and
Marathon County really wants that road, they want us to do
they want that road. I also received an email from Jim, someplace here, from the county, and he said that, I can't find that email, I do have it. We may, because of the amount of traffic on that road, that we may even have to go to, I think I have it here. Sorry about that. Okay. With the 11-foot lanes and the 3-foot shoulder, with the traffic count you have, the state states that we may have to go to a 12-foot lane and a 6-foot shoulder.
It's not a county road.
He says it's owned by traffic.
So what does that mean for Spencer and the other township that owns it? We would just work
I
on our part
don't
and say,
even know, I'm just saying this is exactly what I got in an email, and I have no idea. I don't know. He's saying by traffic. So, again, all this stuff just came up, I haven't been able to compile any of this stuff yet, I apologize, but I will have it. I think we got it, I mean, if we have to come up with $600,000, we may as well see how far $600,000 is gonna get us to do the whole road versus a mile of it. That's my opinion.
I thought Wisconsin Towns emailed us about another grant that we could apply for that was due in August. However, I can't find the email. I thought it was called the infrastructure bill, but it must be a different bill. Patty, do you know anything about that?
The bipartisan infrastructure bill, and the only opening at this point is for carbon reduction, which we don't.
I thought there was,
For the bicycle trail.
It's the bipartisan infrastructure bill is what you're talking about, and that's the one that's due in August, but they just put out the final rule that says the only thing that they're accepting is carbon reduction. Blacktop is not carbon reduction.
well, there goes a bike lane though.
My initial thought on that road was to put a gravel lift on it, pulverize it, shape it.
Yep, I think that's.
There's no truck traffic on it.
I seriously think that's, I mean, that's a lot of money to come up with for half a road.
There's a guy over here that's got way more experience than any of us. If somebody would like to interject anything?
Yes.
How long does that grant have to be used by?
Find some prices quickly.
They, well, we have until the 27th.
So
I do have that date on here, June 30th of 2027.
Okay, so that does give you some time to think about, okay, you get X amount put aside for it now. And whatever, you know, we don't spend this year in the budget, you know, start putting it towards that.
Actually, Patty and I crunched some numbers, and I don't know if we can do it in a couple of years. I don't
Well, you
know,
get till 27.
right?
Yeah, but I
I
think
get
that
it.
road is in such good
But
shape.
this road is bad. We do have to do something with this road. I seriously feel that.
Well, that puts a little more pressure on the city of Marshfield that wants to be able to use that road. Menards
They
likes
won't
that
though.
road.
They won't. I don't see that.
You know, you,
I know, and we're gonna, and I thank you, we're gonna bounce all this stuff around, we seriously are. But I just want you to know what I'm feeling right now, and when I saw this, and Patty and I put some numbers together, and it's like, you know, why don't I just talk to some people and see what they're getting per foot or per whatever it is they bid it by, to see if those numbers, you know, if that comes, if we can get 2 miles done for $600,000, I think we go that direction, because that road does need it, the whole road does.
There's like 2 outfits out there that did the pulverizing for us, and both of them, last year when I talked to them, it was like $5,000 a mile. Township road
Okay.
pulverized.
Okay, to pulverize it,
Yeah.
plus put down.
No, you'd have whoever gets the bid, put the lift
Okay.
down, and they would have to grade it
Okay.
to a certain point, and then it gets pulverized, everything mixed in, and
Okay.
then if American's gonna get, you know, whoever gets put out the bid for final shaping and compaction. and-
Right. I think we should think about getting prices on that, I really do, because and
It's a safety concern, to be honest.
it is, I tell you, I travel that road and
People are dodging the potholes, which means they're going across the imaginary center line,
They are.
because most of the roads.
Have you been down 153 this spring?
Well, I've been down that road too, but that's not, the problem is that's not our road.
So anyway, at the time, I'm thinking, and again, I just wanna let you know what I'm thinking, and this is just personally me. So I'm up for any input people have, discussion, to try to find out the best bang for the buck for this township.
Well, you could do-
Because getting $600,000 for 1 mile, to me, just does not seem like that's a smart thing to do.
You could do it
Just
stages.
me.
You could put the lift on, you could pulverize it, and you could leave it.
Yeah.
Nobody says it's gotta go back to blacktop first year, second year. It
Yeah.
could just be left. If people don't wanna drive on it, then drive around. I'll still drive on it when I go to Fleet, but
We had, the thing is we had what was that, probably 14 feet, 20
Yeah.
feet?
Yeah.
And I was receiving phone calls every 3 days on it because it was just done, because we left it sit with ground blacktop on top to pound it in, which it did go down probably about 6 inches with the traffic.
put a bump sign.
I think what I'm gonna do in short term,
Just so you know, the city just bid their hot mix contract, and they've got over $1 million worth of stuff they're doing. Pulverizing is $1.09 a square yard. That's just the pulverizing, that's not any base you gotta put on.
okay,
And per ton of hot mix, they're 89, $90 a ton.
$90 a ton?
90 bucks a ton. It went up like 20% over last year.
That sounds confusing.
A lot more reason.
Which I
So,
That'll give you some numbers to work with.
thank you, I appreciate that. So I think what I'm gonna do,
Wood County is working on something yet, and it's through the state that they are able to lead the county to do certain things.
okay,
That's not the way it is right now yet. That stuff's in the works.
okay,
That's at the state level.
okay.
Is this something we hire an engineer for regardless of what way we go, with grant or not grant?
For grant, we would have to.
Yeah, but what about?
For not grant, I'm not sure yet. I haven't even started checking into all this. I don't know. This 11 to 12 foot and 3 to 6 foot shoulders kind of threw me for a loop.
What is it now?
And so did the 600,000.
11 with the
It's
3.
11 with the 3.
That's what it is now?
Yeah.
Would, Mayor, would going back to gravel be an option, or would you have an uprising?
You'd get shot.
I think we would get shot. There are so many people that travel that road, and even at, as bad as it is right now, these people do not slow down. They are still, it's 35 or 45, and they are going 55. They just don't slow
Paul
down.
Mansell lives on that road, and he just made the statement, or hey, he says, I wish to go back to gravel. He says,
It'd slow down. You would think it would, but I don't know if you would. But I don't want to be sitting here if we do that.
What are they gonna do? You're ready to
Well, you
get law
have it.
enforcement
He's
back
gonna
here. Right?
But anyway, so what I think, and I have to make a phone call to the state or to Jim, one of them, to find out, because I know when we applied for these things and some of the classes and stuff we've taken, that you have to get back to them in a timely manner on whether or not you're gonna take the grant or not. There's nothing in the information that I was given that has that date on there when I have to get back to them. So I'm gonna jump on this week yet and try and get some prices together.
4.5 is the thickness it's on.
Yes.
Do you know for sure that you can change to something other than what you applied for? To
We
get
can try
that
to.
600,000?
To
If
change.
you're gonna get that 600, you can change basically what it is you planned, as far as some of those things.
Right, that I don't
But
know.
are you able to change totally?
Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
think that would be your number one question to the state, whether you could, rather than totally lose the 600,000, because that was not part of the grant. I think you need to know for sure if you can
Yeah,
even
and see, these
approach
are-
those other things.
Yep, and I thank you for that, because I wouldn't even ask that question, because what I know of grants, and this comes back to stuff you were saying, is that I was surprised they could take and change us from a 80-20 to a 50-50. I thought when you apply for grants, my wife does grants for the clinic, and if she had a misspelled word, it's gone.
Yeah.
So them changing stuff around and asking these questions, I would never even think of asking these questions, because what I know of grants is that it is what it is, and it's gotta be perfectly worded, or you're not getting it. You're done.
Right. So if you
The
find that
option
out,
was
then that
discussed with the entire board, and you and I talked about it before the application. There was a check mark on the application that said, we are applying for LRIP. If it's not approved, do we want to be put into the group with the Tri-D? That was all approved. That's why it went to Tri-D.
I'm sure, yep. And that question was answered for me also. That was checked. But that doesn't make it any easier. So that's where I'm at with that grant, unfortunately. I think I'm just gonna try and see what we can do to crush this and get it laid back down. And honestly, see what prices we can get for this, and if it's feasible. Any other questions or comments on that?
I have one.
Yes.
The section that's in Spencer Township seems to be holding up better. Is there something they're doing different?
No, I think they just redid that since we had ours done. I think so.
Was that section done, Kurt, remember when Manville was done in that corner?
It was done. It was reconstructed with a sand lift and a base course lift in 1988, and it was paved, and I could be wrong on this, like 92.
Okay.
And the only thing that's been done since then is chip seal and slag over the chip. That's it.
Do you know what base and stuff there is under man on our part?
I have no idea
No
what's
idea.
under, what's under the township part. I know there's 10 inches and 10 inches of sand and 7 inches of base in the city section.
Okay.
That's just from Hutter Street to Lincoln though. That other section was dug before my time.
Okay.
But I mean, you don't
Good
see,
question.
you don't see any of the cracks or potholes on that section. I mean, I drive over
The
every day.
pavement, the pavement's starting to fall apart in that section, in the wheel paths. You can take a good look at it. But
Good
it's
question,
pretty
thank
low
you.
pavement.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to get sued or lawsuit because that road
It's
is
a
in
bad road.
such bad condition.
I agree.
Most cars drive down the middle now.
Absolutely.
So you can't pass them.
At 55.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I drive down the middle.
Yeah,
If
I do too.
Come in that avenue.
I do. I agree 100%. I do it myself. I'm guilty. Okay.
Any action at this time?
No, because I think I'm gonna, I have to find out when I have to follow up on some stuff. Thanks for the feedback, I appreciate it. There's a lot of good stuff that came out of that. Thank you.
The other question, I guess I got two while you're gonna be asking questions, is probably calling the city and what they're planning, what their long-range plan is, if it's to widen the road out to take care of the traffic, or if, because I was under the impression that Spencer doesn't have any more of it, that with annexation and stuff, that they didn't have any more of that road.
They never did. Spencer never owned anything from Lincoln to Highway 13.
It's all, so it's the city, between the city and us, basically.
I thought Spencer was a,
No, they own the land on the other side of the
Yeah,
road.
they own the
But they
land
don't
on
own the road.
They're on the north side of the road, but they don't own that.
They own just the land on
They
the.
did a trade with the city for Man
Oh.
Road on the other side of Highway 13 for the section of Spencer that the city used to maintain.
got it.
It's
okay.
just a
So
maintenance
it's
agreement
the
though. They
city of
still,
Marshfield and McMillan?
no, Spencer.
Town of Spencer plows that yet though, don't they? I thought Pete said that.
No, that section of Man, just on the other side of Highway 13, up to Fry, the city plows. Spencer,
When they do,
or Fry Court,
are they,
High,
I mean,
Yeah.
north of
so that what we do doesn't
Man
come
Road,
later and try to
all the way up
patch together,
to,
or,
we used to maintain that up to the first farmhouse.
I'm sure theirs is way down the road too.
Did a maintenance agreement, they take care of High,
Full road.
just past Manville. We've got Man Road on the east side, or west side.
Oh,
I shouldn't say we don't work for them anymore.
No.
The next one is the release of holding tank agreement with a PIN number of a lot of digits. Basically, it's a piece of property that Quick Trip is looking at purchasing over in the corner of 13 and McMillan Street. Patty, you've done more correspondence back and forth, because I looked, I did not get anything, so
The only thing, you have everything that I have, other than Pete Wade said there is no posts that would hold up this parcel.
basically what I'm looking at is the board then to okay the release of this contract.
what are they,
And under the section that I was looking at, if you want to read it, is part 5. This agreement will remain in effect only until the local government, until reasonable for the regulations of private sewage systems, clarifies the property as served by either a municipal sewer or soil absorption system that complies with, and then the chapter that goes into it.
So Quick Trip's going in, they want the holding tank out so they can.
There is no holding tank. The conversation with the county, there's nothing there.
so, there's nothing there, but yet we're supposed to say to dissolve this holding tank agreement?
Basically, back when, and I don't know because I did not talk to Russ, I believe Russ's signature's on here as town chair, and that's basically as far as it ever went.
So are they using city water?
There's, on that right now, there's a field.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
Oh,
The original agreement came up on the encumbrance on a title search. That's all we know. There is nothing at the county that ever, other than this agreement, which at some point in time a previous owner applied for. It has changed hands several times. No one has ever noticed the holding tank. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but here you are.
so there
These
is a
people-
holding
The
tank.
people in the original
And they have a holding tank.
agreement do not own the
They have a
property.
holding tank, yes. Yeah.
The current owners, according to the title company, need the encumbrance removed. That's what you're doing.
Okay, motion to do that.
Yes,
The old castle only used to sit on that property, part of that property, and they had a holding tank.
but as of the county,
I don't know if that came out when that building came down.
as of the county, there's
The
nothing there.
county has no,
Maybe it didn't go there.
That's gonna be the normal one, isn't it?
Basically, you're just cleaning up the paperwork.
Exactly, we're cleaning up the paperwork. Okay.
Motion for release of holding tank agreement with the PIN number.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to release the holding tank agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Release.
Just the one.
I know.
Patty, your grant,
the first report is due to, for ARPA by the end of the month. Board needs to either take the default designation for the lost revenue, which is 10 million, which would allow you to use ARPA for municipal services, or you make the declaration that you're going to use the formula in the spreadsheet. If you use the formula in the spreadsheet, you will get a big goose egg. If you use the default, you'll get 10 million. Lost revenue designation, non-money.
And it's due by the end of the month?
The first one is,
Who would write it?
who would write what?
To say, this is what we wanna do, you, or Rod, or? I know, I thought so too.
This grant is already written and approved, we already got the first payment. This
So-
is the, you have to follow up and make
Okay.
reports. It would be.
Got it.
And your suggestion was option A?
For 10 million versus
My
0?
suggestion is to approve the lost revenue declaration with the default offered in the final rule.
That sounds like a great motion that I'd like to make.
Okay.
And I'll second.
anybody want to discuss it any further? All those in favor of okaying what Patty's gonna type up there for her declaration? Report.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. What you've all been waiting for.
Yay!
I'd like to say thank you, everybody again, for allowing me to serve you for the last 2 years.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say the same, it's been an interesting year, and I appreciate all the feedback, and I've learned a lot over the past year, so thank you.
I'd also like to thank
I'll do a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against, nay. Ayes have it. Adjourn.
We have to sign the holding tank agreement and this stuff.
I believe it's just gonna be me, right now. Patty, or-
Oh! No, we'll let you know.
Steve still here? Just like over your bank, right?
Absolutely.